What is up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Lazy Day NBA Show. I'm your host, Daniel. And today we are getting into another GOAT debate episode. I got a lot of comments on my part two to this video. Um, Jesus Christ, excuse me. Uh, I got a lot of comments on my part two of, okay, we're gonna start over. What is up, guys? Welcome back to Lazy Day NBA Show. It is your host, Daniel. We are back with another GOAT debate video. I got a lot of comments under my first video and some comments under my second video where people were critiquing the power scaling method, and they wanted a few more accolades and a little more context put into the GOAT debate. So without further ado, the list still is not perfect, okay? Um, there's a lot of context in NBA, okay? There's a lot of context. So, however, I hope that this is a better list for people. Um, and yeah, without further ado, um, also, if you've already seen part one or part two, I'm gonna put a check mark in the video that you can skip to so that you're not hearing the same stuff over and over again. So if you've already listened to this, skip to the check mark that I put for all the new information. Okay, without further ado. So this video is going to be looking at basketball from a philosophical perspective, meaning that our premises equal our conclusion. Example, all dogs are mammals. Premise one. Premise two is German Shepherds are dogs. That means all German Shepherds are mammals. This is a simple equation for logic, okay? Logic simply means that as long as you agree with premise one and premise two, then you have to agree with the conclusion. If you disagree with the conclusion, then you need to explain which premise you disagree with. Simple as that. Okay, so something that I heard a lot of after my first video is influence, okay? How can LeBron be the GOAT while wearing Jordan's shoes? But Jordan changed the game. Okay. Even Kobe and Curry are more influential than Jordan or than LeBron. Okay, yes, I know. I agree with this. But influence does not make you the GOAT. And if you think influence makes you the GOAT, then you are SpongeBob right here. Okay? Or more so, I'm SpongeBob looking at you like this because this is just stupid. It's a stupid argument. Let me explain why it's stupid. Okay, inconsistent logic. If you agree that Allen Iverson is top five most influential, then why is he not in your all-time top five? Because it's not a factor and it's not calculable. Okay, these are my top five most influential players of all time. We have Jordan, Curry, Kobe, Curry, Allen Iverson, and then it's a tie between Shaq and LeBron to me. Okay, so this is one of the most influential, but influential does not make you the GOAT. Okay, I agree that Jordan is the most influential. I agree that Kobe is the second and most influential. I grew up my whole life. Every single time I shot a shot, I would scream out Kobe because that is what everyone does, right? He is the most influential person. And now I hear, my little brother and his generation screaming out Curry, right? Not only that, but Curry has also changed the way that coaches coach the game and players play the game. He's extraordinarily influential. Okay. But that does not automatically make him better than anybody else. Also, inconsistency with other sports. The NFL, okay? The most influential quarterback of all time is Michael Vick, okay? Russell Wilson, Lamar Jackson, every single quarterback that runs the ball the way that they do, um, owes Michael Vick um, for being the one who really pioneered that in a way that led to winning, right? Michael Vick ran the ball better than any other quarterback before him, and it led to him winning, okay? But no one has Michael Vick in their GOAT debate for quarterbacks, right? It's Tom Brady. Is Tom Brady the most influential? No. In fact, he's probably one of the most hated. People refuse to let that man be influential because they hate him so much. And the same thing is happening right now with Patrick Mahomes. Everybody hates the guy so much that I've never heard a kid, throwing the ball and saying Mahomes, right? Unless they're being sarcastic and making fun of or excuse me, NFL announcers glazing that guy. That is the only time I hear people talking about Mahomes, okay? Is when they're talking about glazing announcers, right? So But that doesn't mean that Michael Vick is greater all time than Mahomes, unfortunately. You know, my personal opinion is that the NFL is rigged, so I don't even care about the GOAT debate for the quarterbacks, me personally. Um, but without further ado, we have MMA. Conor McGregor is the most influential MMA athlete by an astronomical margin, and yet he's not the GOAT. People consider GSP or John Jones or Khabib the GOAT. They do not consider Conor McGregor the GOAT. Don't get me wrong, he is arguably top five, right? He has a spot on the Rushmore. He's most definitely top 10, right? He's the very first UFC double champ in UFC history. So he is up there, but he's not considered the GOAT. So that is why I consider influence to be a stupid argument. Okay, longevity. LeBron is only great because his longevity. Then why is he the youngest player to reach 1,000 points, 2,000 points, 3,000 points, etc., all the way up to 38,000 points, and the only player to reach 39, 40, and 41,000 points? On top of that, he is on pace to end his career with 42, 12, and 12. Okay? He is the only player with 10, 10, 10, and he's going to end his career with 42, 12, and 12. Okay? And no one is even close to the 30, 10, 10. Nobody. So longevity, that is such a stupid argument. That is not how that works. If Michael Jordan had the tech and medicine but he didn't, okay? He didn't. He did not have the tech and the medicine, and that is okay. Okay. No one says that Usain Bolt isn't the GOAT because if Jesse Owens had what Usain Bolt had, if he had the shoes, if he had the track, if he had the sports medicine, if he had the supplements, no, no one says that because it's okay, right? The sports get better. Players play better. They are more athletic. They heal faster, and that's okay. All right. Records are meant to be broken, and GOATs are meant to be replaced. Like, why are you guys so obsessed with holding on to this idea that if Jordan had the tech and I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would, but what ifs are stupid, and he doesn't, okay? And he didn't. So I don't want to hear all these what ifs. Okay, that's retarded. Okay, and if Wilt Chamberlain had whatever, he'd be the GOAT. Like it gets dumb after a while. If Derrick Rose didn't sprain his ankle, he'd be the GOAT. Sure, but he did. It sucks. It's sad. But like what ifs are so stupid, and they don't belong in the GOAT debate. All right. Next up, so we have my personal argument here. We have premise one is era inflation. Um, I had a lot of people comment on my first video. These are just some key check marks in you know in the NBA history, and I had a lot of people comment on this era inflation. Okay, first of all, somebody told me that there was more international players in the 80s and the 90s. Wrong. Okay, whoever commented that, wrong. You're stupid. No. I don't know where you got your facts from, but that is not true. The very first time the NBA crossed 80 international players was in 2006, and it's been increasing since the Olympic Dream Team. You wanna know why? Because the Olympic Dream Team inspired the whole world to play basketball. Okay. And so all the little kids that saw Jordan, Magic, and Bird playing in that Olympic Dream Team got old enough to play in the NBA around the 2006 time, and that is why the international game skyrocketed in 2006 to 2017. Okay, so no, there was not more international players in the 80s and the 90s. Second of all, somebody said, why does it matter? Why does it matter? Because in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, to be blunt, okay, this is just flat out my opinion. I didn't put this in here because I don't think I need this argument in order to win this argument. However, the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s are not world champions. They're not world championships, guys. They're just not. They're American championships, and they should count less. Because sure, you're the best team at a sport that the whole world doesn't even play. Okay. But in the 2000s, the 10s, and the 20s, you are playing a sport that the whole world plays. Therefore, when you win a championship, It is a world championship. It is not an American championship. Arguably everything prior to 2006 is an American championship. They're not world championships. Okay. That is why it matters. The talent pool is bigger. The whole world is playing the sport. Like I can't believe that there's some people in the comments that I have to explain this to. Why does it matter? Because there's 8 billion people playing the sport as opposed to 300 million. Okay? I can't even do the math on that, but that's like 24 times the population playing the sport. Okay? So, yeah, simple as that. Premise two is that finals MVPs are and conference MVPs are worth more than a ring. I explained in my other videos that the conference MVP is a new award, which means that anyone prior to 2021, where the award was not legitimately given to them, I give it to them in a pseudo fashion because it's easy to check the stats on games and see if this award was around when they were playing, would they have won it or not? And so we give it to players in a pseudo fashion. Now, why do we do this? Because when we are trying to compare, once LeBron retires and either Luka, Wemby, or Jokic enter that GOAT debate, they become the best player in the league once LeBron leaves and he's no longer in these GOAT debates. Or at least he's not an active player in the GOAT debate, excuse me. Um, it is going to be very important when we are, when Jokic and when Luka and Wemby are racking up these conference MVPs, we need to compare it to people, and we need to give them pseudo MVPs so that we can still have that conversation. Once again, I had somebody in my comments on my first video telling me that having a conference MVP, a pseudo MVP is stupid. No, it's not, because in the future, when we're trying to compare, Tatum and Wemby and Luka and Jokic to these older players like LeBron, Jordan, Kobe, all these players, when we're trying to compare them, we need to have these pseudo MVPs in there so that we can continue to have that discussion. Next premise is the medal system versus the ring system. The medal system is far superior at reflecting context within history. Um, Once again, I had somebody say that this is stupid. Like, I don't know what else you want me to say. Like, it is far more superior at reflecting context. Okay. I know that these awards don't actually exist, but it is for context. And I explain all of this in, my my other two videos. I explain this, that if you don't believe in that this context is important, then Tony Snell is just as great as Luka, right? Because you're refusing to look at more context. Premise four, finishing top three in MVP voting is an accolade. Once again, we use the medal system to reflect context. Why? Because robbery is a part of the NBA. And if you don't believe it is a part of the NBA, then you don't know basketball. Michael Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron have all been robbed of MVPs. So has Jokic, so has Luka. There's been a lot of players that have been robbed. Okay. Chris Paul was robbed of an MVP, in my opinion. Dirk has been robbed of MVPs, in my opinion. So a lot of people are getting robbed left and right out here. And it is important to reflect that context and give them credit for at least placing in the top three in voting. Okay. Premise five is that your whole career matters. You can't hyper focus on a person's peak and say that you're honestly assessing their career. Um, so simply put, I'm going to concede the fact that, did Jordan have the better peak? Yes. Yes, he did. The way he dominated the 90s is far better than the way that LeBron has dominated the 2010s. But in terms of dominating for 22 years, as opposed to Jordan dominating for 6 years, right? That might be an unfair statement, but let me think about how to rephrase that. I mean, I think it would be fair to say that Michael Jordan dominated for, let's say, 8 years. Okay. He dominated for 8 years as opposed to LeBron dominating for definitely more than 8 years. Right. And if you only want to look at people's peak, then yeah, Michael Jordan is your GOAT. But if you want to assess a person's whole career, because yes, it does matter. Okay. Uh, it does matter because Kawhi Leonard has had two great peaks, but he's done nothing of value since then. Okay. So simply put, your whole career does matter. Next premise is that negative moments in your career should hurt your legacy. They're not neutral events. Missing the playoffs, first round exits, and getting swept and having a losing regular season record should hurt your legacy. It's not a neutral event. Okay. Conclusion to the premises. Okay, so we have era inflation, conference MVPs, medal system in the MVP race. Your whole career matters, and a bad season is not a neutral event. If you want to pause and read over this, I explain using logic on why I have all of these things here. Okay. Next up, we have our principles. Once again, if you want to pause and read these principles, I highly recommend it. It will help you with understanding my logic a little bit more. Just to go through the main ones, we have the robbery principle. If you believe that robberies exist, the all or nothing rewards can't reflect true context. The Barkley-Horry principle. A pseudo conference MVP is still greater than having 7 rings. Okay. Robert Horry has 7 rings. He has no finals MVPs. He has no conference MVPs. Barkley has no rings, no finals MVPs, but Barkley has a pseudo conference MVP, and his conference MVP is greater than Horry's 7 rings. Um, yeah, and then we have the Jordan Russell principle. Error inflation is real. Okay, that is the only cause for an argument. The only cause for argument is how steep that inflation is, but it does exist. Okay. Finally, how do we calculate all these factors? Okay, we have power scaling. So we have our era inflation here. 60s is the base era, 1.2x multiplier for the 70s, 1.5x multiplier for the 80s, 2x multiplier for the 90s. The 90s were double as skilled. This is why Jordan's 6 rings are greater than Bill Russell's 11 rings. Okay. With era inflation, Jordan's 6 rings are worth 12 rings in the 60s. Okay. Um, and then the 2000s, we have a 2.2x multiplier, we have a 2.4x multiplier for the 10s, and we have a 2.6x multiplier for the 20s. Okay, so I had people in my comments once again telling me that these multipliers were stupid and that the league hasn't got any harder since the 90s. In fact, it was easier. Okay, um, I appreciate the feedback, but you are wrong. Okay, you saying that um, then why are teams scoring more? Because they're better at playing basketball. Okay. They're faster, they jump higher, they shoot the three better. Um, they're shooting the three more. Okay. It's simple as that. It's the three ball. Like if you don't understand that, teams are like the Chicago Bulls were facing off against the Nuggets the other day and they shot 53s as a team. That is why they're scoring more. It has nothing to do with the fact that the league is easier and the defenses suck. No, they shoot more threes and they're better at shooting threes. They shoot more threes at a higher efficiency. That leads to higher scoring games. Okay. And I know people are all upset about the 3 second rule in the paint. Sure. Okay. Sure. It makes it a little bit easier to get to the lane. Okay. And hand checking, if you actually do a deep dive on hand checking, you'll see that it's one of the stupidest arguments ever. Also, it is completely refuted by the fact that zone defense was not allowed prior to 2001. Okay. Zone defense is what makes the NBA more difficult. Okay. And the fact that we're talking about a more international league. Okay. We have 8 billion people playing basketball instead of 300 million people playing basketball. That is why this inflation matters. Okay. Zone defense, going back to zone defense, in the 90s, why do you think Jordan was able to drop so many 60-point games? Right? Because he had to beat one guy. He had to beat one guy. It was simple as that. In fact, he only really got doubled. Like the doubles back then were so weak. And it was because he ran into a double, right? Like, but now we have zone defense where people can completely abandon their man and really fully commit to double or triple teaming somebody. Okay. So that is why air inflation matters. Okay, so next up we have the power scaling. So I've changed the power scaling just a little bit. Okay. Um, More or less, all I did is add a 0 to the end of absolutely everything in the past. Now, why? Because I've added more things to the power scaling in order to make it make a little bit more sense. Once again, this is still not a fully polished system. This is a work in progress, and I need your guys' feedback, and I want your guys' feedback. I want genuine feedback, though. I don't want trolls and I don't want haters. Okay. But I'm refining this process. Okay. So, what is new in the power scaling? We have total points, total assists, total rebounds, total steals, total blocks. Okay. We are also going to be counting 60-point games, 50-point games, 40-point games, triple doubles, 30-point triple doubles, 40-point triple doubles, 50-point triple doubles. Um, I put this in here prior to doing the research. Neither Jordan or LeBron have any 50-point triple doubles. So this is completely redundant. Okay. Career plus minus and career win share. Okay. So as you guys see, I have adjusted these numbers already. Live, I adjusted these. So the steals is times 1.2 or 1.5, and the blocks is times 1.5. And then as I was about to record this video, I literally just realized that getting a 60-point game is more difficult than getting a 50-point game. Therefore, the multiplier should be higher, and vice versa for everything. Like a 40-point triple double should be a higher multiplier than a 30-point triple double or a regular triple double. So I have added that in. I just forgot to add it on this scale here. Okay, Michael Jordan. I'm gonna rush through this if you guys haven't seen my other video where I go more in depth about this, but simply put, we're gonna try to rush through this as fast as possible. Okay, so Michael Jordan in the 90s had a conference loss. Okay, so that's a bronze medal. Okay. He won MVP one time. That's 750 points. That's huge. He was runner-up twice. Okay. Arguably, he was robbed. Most definitely, he was robbed once. Okay. He deserved two MVPs in the 80s, but unfortunately, he didn't have them. So we're gonna count it as a bronze MVP. So these are 500 points each. And then he won Rookie of the Year. He was DPOY one time. He was never runner-up or third place. Um, we have some negative marks here, so we're going to count all of that up to 2,700 positive points minus 3,500 negative points. We get negative 800 with his error multiplier, and we get negative 1,200 points for Michael Jordan in the 80s. Obviously, if you know Jordan, we know that the bulk of his career was in the 90s. That is what he dominated. So we have six rings. Excuse me. We have a conference loss. He gets a bronze medal for that. He was a three-peat finals MVP twice. We're going to give him an extra three, excuse me. We're going to give him an extra 3,000 points for that. Okay. Finals MVP six times. We're going to give him 7,500 points for that. Conference MVP six times. MVP five times. Runner up once. Third place twice. Okay. He was in the race eight times in the 90s. That's tremendous. Okay. That is huge. So, I mean, when people say that he dominated the 90s, they are not joking. He dominated the 90s. Okay. Like I said earlier in the video, I concede the point that in terms of dominating an era, Michael Jordan dominated the 90s like no one has ever dominated anything ever. But that I want to give Michael Jordan his flowers, but I also need people to understand that the league is more skilled. No one will ever dominate an era like that ever again. Okay. The NBA is too skilled. Why? Because it's an international sport now. Okay. You have Jokic, Giannis. Okay. Jokic is the best player in the league right now, and he's a fourth seed. Okay. He's like ninth in the power rankings as the best player. He's averaging a 30-point, 12 rebound triple double, and he can't win. Okay. Uh, that is how good the NBA has gotten. So I really, no one will ever dominate like this ever again, which is why we have to evaluate people's full careers. Okay. So he was runner up DPOY one time and he was third place once. No negative marks. Zilch. So what do we have here? We have 24,150 points, and we have that times two multiplier to get 48,300 points. Okay. In the 2000s, he did nothing of value for his career, not a single good thing, just negative marks. So we have negative 2,200 times that multiplier. We get negative 4,040. Okay. Okay, so this is where we're going to do all the add-ons. Okay. And the reason why we're going to do all these add-ons here is because unfortunately, guys, this is a channel that doesn't make me any money. I don't have the time to assign all of these accolades to each specific era. That would take so long. Maybe once I'm a paid YouTuber, I'll go through and do it. But for right now, I still am a full-time job and I'm a married man. I ain't got time for all that. So we have his total points, 42,260. Okay. And here are his add-ons: 32,000 points, 5,000 assists, 5,000 rebounds, 2,000 steals, 800 blocks. He has four 60-point games. He has 31 50-point games. He has 173 40-point games. Okay. 28 triple doubles, 17 30-point triple doubles, three 40-point triple doubles. He has a career plus minus of 1,438, and he has a career win share of 214.02. Okay. Once again, these are all of my multipliers. I would love to hear your guys' feedback. Critique me, please. I want to get more context into this debate, and I want more multipliers. So, or more fine-tuned multipliers. Okay. So his total points for his entire career is 1,000, or excuse me, 156,918.9 points. Okay. So if you remember the last video, the highest score was like 4,600 points. The scores have jumped up with all this added context. Okay. So that is his score. Going to LeBron. Okay. LeBron in the 2000s, one finals loss, silver medal, conference loss, bronze medal, conference MVP. Okay. We have a regular season MVP, and he was runner up once. And then we have Rookie of the Year, a DPOY runner-up, and he missed the playoffs twice, and he had a losing record, and he got swept once. Okay, so total we have 3,300 points minus that 2,200 to get 1,100 times 2.2. So that is his career in the 2000s. Okay, 2,420 points. In the tens, this is LeBron's 90s, right? This is the era that he dominated the most. Um, so with that being said, we have three finals wins, five finals losses, silver medals here, no conference losses, three finals MVPs, eight conference MVPs. Okay, so he gets 8,000 points for those conference MVPs. He has three regular season MVPs. He was runner up twice, and he was third three times. Okay, one thing that I do need to say is this man was robbed many times, many times in the tens. Okay. Um, you know, LeBron should have four-peated the MVP award. At the very bare minimum, he should have four-peated. So with that being said, we go to the DPOY, which this is the biggest robbery in history. Go look up his DPOY robbery against Marc Gasol. Marc Gasol did not deserve um that DPOY, but they gave it to him anyways. But we're going to count it as a silver DPOY right here. Missed the playoffs once, and he got swept once. So total, we have 18,500 minus 1,100 to get 17,400 times 2.4 to get 41,760 points. Okay. And then we have LeBron in the 20s. We have a finals win. We have a conference loss, finals MVP, conference MVP. So that's 1,000 points right there. He was MVP runner-up one time in 2020 or 2021, 2020, one of those years. And he has one of each negative mark. So we have 3,050 points. Minus 2,100, we get 950 points times 2.6 to get 2,470 points. Okay, next up. LeBron's career add-ons. Okay, so we have this 46K right here, plus 41K, plus 11K, plus 11, plus 2,000, plus 1,000. He has a 160-point game to Jordan's 4. He has 14 50-point games. He has 78 40-point games to Jordan's 173-point games. Okay, so first thing I want to say about this, no one is arguing, and I don't know why Jordan fans do this, but no one is arguing that LeBron is a better, pure, high volume scorer. Okay. No one is arguing that he is a pure, high volume scorer. Okay. When people are arguing that LeBron James is the greatest of all time, they're arguing that he is the most well-rounded player of all time. Okay. He's one of the more efficient players of all time. Okay. Almost anytime you look at, like, for instance, I'll give you an example. LeBron James just scored 42 points at 40 years old. Michael Jordan, his oldest 40-point game was 43 points at 40 years old. The only difference is LeBron took 25 shots and Jordan took, I believe, 40 shots. Okay. So Jordan scored 43 off of 40 shots. LeBron scored 42 off of 25 shots. That is why people argue he is a GOAT. If LeBron James took 40 shots a game, he would average easily like 40 to 50 points. Okay. I mean, this is just, I mean, arguably he would average 60 points if he was taking 40 shots a game. He would average like 60 points. Okay. So that is not what people are arguing, that he's a high volume scorer. Okay. What they are arguing, though, is he's more balanced, okay? Because LeBron James has more triple doubles, more 30-point triple doubles, and more 40-point triple doubles than Jordan, okay? And it's not even close. LeBron has 151 triple doubles. Michael Jordan has 28, okay? In fact, LeBron James has more 30-point triple doubles than Jordan has triple doubles at all, okay? That is why people argue he is the GOAT. Okay. His total career win share is 7,389. Jordan's career, or excuse me, plus minus. Jordan's career plus minus is in the 1,000s. This man's is in the 7,000s. Career win share. Jordan is 217. LeBron James is 268. Okay. The advanced stats say that LeBron James is the GOAT. Okay. Also, this is career win share. This is career plus minus. So anybody who's saying, oh, LeBron is just longevity. No, because if he was just longevity, his career win shares would drop. Okay. The only person who has a higher career win share than LeBron James is Kareem. In fact, I'm more interested in the LeBron James versus Kareem debate than I am in the LeBron James versus Michael Jordan. In fact, I'm kind of bored with the Michael Jordan debate, to be completely honest. I think Kareem, though, could pose a very interesting challenge to LeBron. With that being said, we have 219,108.6 points. Okay. If you were keeping track, this is the final results. Okay. It's not even close, guys. It's not even close. So, even if I really tried to tailor this to Michael Jordan, he's still not winning. Okay. In fact, I might do that in my next video as just a finale. Okay. With that being said, to everyone who is genuine and watching this video, all I have to say is I do want to critique this. Okay. I want to put scoring titles, assist titles, rebound titles, steals titles, and blocks titles. The only reason why I didn't do it in this list is because, once again, I believe in context, okay? I believe in the medal system. So I believe in having first, second, and third steals or points titles, okay? First, second, and third rebound title. First, second, third assist title. That is how I want to do it once I add it in, which, as you can imagine, that is a lot of research. So if you want to see that, okay, I also want to add in more advanced statistics such as FORP, okay? I also want to critique the multipliers. I really want to critique the multipliers and make sure that they are based on principles and based on logic, and based on things that, genuine fans of basketball can agree upon. Not just kind of, not just kind of a gut feeling, if that makes any sense. But with that being said, to all the haters and all the trolls, if you don't think LeBron James is the GOAT, then you just need to watch this.
Bro, he was that, bro. If he wanted you out of there, he'll go do it himself on feet by himself.
Something's wrong with him. That's not human, man. You're not regular, man.
That I actually prayed
Let us get breaking news that LeBron has, tore his ACL. Jesus.
I walked on that boy and I hit him in the noggin. 7 said too late, I switched to my car and I'm hopping this boy. 7 said too late, I switched to my car and I'm hopping this boy. We got X-Stand 6 shooting me. I pop me an X, I got mess in my sister. Fuck my car on me. Bitch, so little. My brothers like spinning.